Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Josh Berger. I've had a number of people see their time.
Can you give me the total number of cards that you have there?
Well, me, 2, 3, 4.
4 in addition to your own? And are those individuals here?
For 8 minutes. I think I could do it in 6 if I talk really fast.
And if I may, are the individuals whose cards you're providing me here in the audience? Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Josh Berger. I'd like to thank the Council for the opportunity to speak in opposition to this measure. I don't make a habit of speaking at City Council meetings, but I found it necessary to attend today to oppose policies I see as motivated by enmity towards gun owners and likely to be administered in the spirit of that enmity towards gun owners. How else should I view measures that, should the proponents achieve their goals of applying them across the ABAG government, that would prohibit my 8-year-old son, who loves to fish, from entering a Big Five because it sells hunting shotguns and ammunition? My other son, who loves basketball and soccer, wouldn't be allowed into a Sport Mart because it sells bullets used by deer hunters. The findings of Municipal Code 52620 claim that the number of unlicensed firearms dealers within the city far exceeds the number of legitimate licensed dealers. Are these new measures supposed to convince people who are already breaking the law by operating without a license to comply? Couldn't the same phony logic be applied to unlicensed narcotics dealers? Even if it could, wouldn't they have a Fifth Amendment defense for failing to notify the government that they are committing a crime? These measures sure don't appear to be a good faith to combat crime. Instead, they give the impression that they're inspired by loathing and contempt for gun owners. Police Chief Batts has stated on more than one occasion that it's 1% of the population of Oakland that's committing 90% of the crimes. Department spokesman Jeff Thompson agreed, stating, instead of blanket suppression that can disrupt the lives of John Q. Public, we need to do our homework, target individuals creating the problems, and then go after them. Studies agree, uniformly showing that murderers aren't ordinary law-abiding people. They're highly aberrant individuals characterized by felony records, alcohol and drug abuse, and life histories of irrational violence against those around them. These measures aren't about safety as much as they are about harassing a politically disfavored minority. These measures do nothing to target that 1% of criminals who make Oakland one of the most dangerous and crime-ridden cities in the nation. Proponents of this measure appear more interested in the symbolic significance of aggravating gun owners than establishing pragmatic and effective policies to control crime in Oakland. The fact is, you've been duped. You've been tricked, bamboozled, hoodwinked by organizations of ideologues who, in spite of extensive legal training and knowledge, willfully dismiss the teachings of constitutional law. LCAV and the Brady campaign are quick to use Oakland and similarly distressed cities as testing grounds for constitutionally bankrupt theories that carry only the promise of expensive litigation and the squandering of taxpayer funds. Oakland already has some of the most restrictive gun laws in the nation. Basic determinants of violent crime are fundamental social, cultural, institutional, and economic factors that no gun law can overcome. This council could instead substantially reduce violent crime by simply enforcing present laws instead of attempting to vilify 50% of the population as barbaric simply because we have guns. If I could briefly direct your attention to the maps I have with me. And I'm sorry I don't really have a, oh, look at that. I have an easel. I've used a simple color scheme to identify the municipalities by per capita homicide rates for 2007. Red being the highest at 22 to 46 murders per 100,000. Cities shaded in yellow have 8 to 21 murders per 100,000, and green indicates a murder rate of 0 to 7 per 100,000. As I'm sure you'd expect, Oakland is colored red, as well as Richmond. My second map is almost a duplicate of the first. However, I've added the locations of federal firearms licensees and sellers of ammunition. In what must be a complete surprise to this council, Oakland only has one FFL, and according to Deputy Chief Israel, it's not licensed to do business in this city, and doesn't. In 2007, there were 119 murders in Oakland. There weren't any ammunition dealers, and there weren't any gun stores. The predecessors to these amendments had already chased them out. At the same time, Napa, where there are 19 federal firearms licensees, there were 2 murders, only one that was gun-related. Petaluma has 13 FFLs. In 2007, it had 1 homicide. Alameda, which shares a long border with Oakland, had a very unusual high of 2 homicides in 2007. It has a Big 5 store that, along with footballs, tennis shoes, and fishing gear, sells guns and ammunition. And isn't it interesting that San Leandro, on the southern border of some of Oakland's more challenging neighborhoods, didn't have a single homicide in 2007, despite being home to a gun store that's been consistently blamed for crime in Oakland. Apparently, crime only migrates into Oakland. It's pretty evident with just a glance at this map that there isn't any correlation between the number of federal firearms licensees, ammunition retailers, and the homicide rate of a municipality. In fact, it's possible that the converse could be true. The Brady campaign and LCAV is trying to sell this council a bottle of snake oil that won't heal what ails this city.
Is there someone else willing to cede their time to you?
3 seconds.
No.
Okay.
Your name, sir? We have about 6 of you here who are sharing the same name.
My email is mmkyk.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry. There isn't any persuasive evidence that supports the view that criminal violence, especially homicide, occurs simply because the means of lethal violence, firearms, are already at hand. The Brady campaign and LCAV is trying to sell this council a bottle of snake oil that won't heal this city. On the contrary, by exposing it to expensive and potentially ruinous litigation that would divert scarce resources from needed social programs, it will only aggravate the illness. Please reject this abomination of a measure.
Thank you.
Chris Wilson. Don't have nearly as much information as that, but I was sitting in here earlier listening to you guys talk about cutting core programs, closing libraries, police force, things like that. And I was thinking that in your own data you have, where I think it says 1,700 Oakland residents a year purchase firearms, approximately. And I was thinking that it also says in your information that they're not purchasing them in Oakland because there aren't dealerships in Oakland. And I'm just thinking that that's probably revenue that would be going to Oakland if those people had the ability to purchase their firearms in Oakland. And it just doesn't make sense to me. You guys are arguing about library books and you're legislating away revenue. So let's ask you to oppose it. I don't think it'll work. You guys already boast that you have some of the strictest gun laws in the state, but you have one of the highest per capita murder rates. So just ask you to oppose it.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
My name is Angelica Wilson, and I want to give a female California gun owner perspective. Now, according to the factfinder.census.gov website, between 06 and 08, Oakland was home to 185,049 women. Now, why is this relevant to this discussion? Because during this time, the number of rapes reported in Oakland went up. Between 08 and 09, the number rose from 160 to 176. Statistically, women comprise the vast majority of rape victims in the United States. However, there is a promising number, 200,000. And it's reported that each year in the U.S., 200,000 women will use a gun, typically a handgun, to ward off a sexual predator. In fact, guns are used approximately 2.5 million times per year in self-defense. Less than 8% of the time, a citizen will actually need to utilize force that results in injury or death to their attacker. The vast majority of incidents only warrant the brandishing of a firearm to dissuade an attacker. So I want you to reconsider this, please.
Thank you.